Our 6th annual AM 950 calendar. That's am950radio.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. In the evenings in Chicago, WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. And, of course, in Seattle, in the afternoon drive and in the late nights, 1150 AM KKNW. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Monday. Good to be with you. Busy week here. 952-946-6205. Patrick is with us. Patrick, I'd like to welcome everybody to a week I'm going to describe as sweatpants week because I just have got too many damn things to do, man.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like a good way to put it when you have a lot on your schedule.
There it is. I'm just showing them off on the old. They got the old sweats on right there, showing them off on the camera because, you know, that's what I've got going on right now, man.
Sometimes you just do what you got to do.
Do I have time to coordinate myself? Well, I've always described my style as slack or casual. So, I mean, I don't know really what else I'm going to do. How was your weekend?
Saturday was really busy. I had some hockey stuff. Yesterday, I just kind of vegged. I watched football all day. So
did you?
Not a real exciting Sunday, but it worked for me.
Well, you know, excitement is in the eye of the beholder, my friend. And, you know, you got to at least watch one Vikings game that was entertaining. Oh, God. Minnesota sports fans are just a fun bunch. By the way, I should mention, coming up a little bit later on, joining us is going to be Jonathan Larson. He was writing with Blue Amp with Cliff Schechter and those guys, a veteran journalist, TV producer, and he's got a great article out about Venezuela and how the same cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs people that tried to get us to believe that Venezuela threw the election in 2020 are the same people behind this idea to try to do a government overthrow there. We're going to talk to him about his article. We'll link to that a little bit later on. So I went out. Are you a fan of the Knives Out movies? Do you like those movies?
I have not seen them.
Oh, okay. Go watch the original Knives Out. That was a really good movie. And as a fan of whodunits and murder mysteries and stuff like this, and if you've ever heard me, Larry Millett is one of my favorite authors. Larry Millett is a fantastic author of crime novels. I love this kind of thing. These movies are great. So I went to see Wake Up Dead Man, which is the third in the installment here with Daniel Craig's Benoit Blanc as the inspector. That was fan-freaking-tastic. They have stumbled onto a formula with these movies, which are just amazing, including the fact that the cast overall, and I want to give Josh O'Connor a lot of credit. He plays the kind of the junior priest in this parish that is he's how do I would say I'll just say it. He's a character in the film. He's a character in the film. But I mean, it's just the entire cast: Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Jeremy Renner, Mila Kunis, Andrew Scott's very good in this. Andrew Scott's great. Thomas Hayden Church shows back up. But God, I haven't seen him in anything recently, but he was fantastic. It's a great thing. And if you've got a murder mystery and it's about 5 minutes left in the film and you still really have no idea who did it, bravo. Or how they did it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just fantastic. Really good. I'm stunned though, because, okay, so this is the Netflix plan. They want everyone to watch it on Netflix, which you should. If you've not seen this, it is quite good. It's going to be out on Netflix. This should get a full theatrical release. I found it. I think they're in the Twin Cities. There's like 4 theaters that were playing this movie, and I saw it at one of them. This movie deserves a full theatrical run. And if it gets nominated for an Oscar or something like that, maybe it does. Get back out in the theaters. But it's fantastic. I really do. I highly encourage you to do it. And it was just fun because, I haven't been to a non-Marvel movie in a while. Or, it's been a long time since I've seen a movie that wasn't necessarily Marvel or Disney. I've got kids. What am I supposed to do? I do like the Marvel movies. 952-946-6205. All right. So we have to have a little bit of a discussion because this morning, blaring across all my news feeds. The great savior, the orange lump himself, Trump, he shows up with I'm here to save the farmers. He announced on Monday his administration is doling out $12 billion in aid. Wow, that sounds like a lot of money, doesn't it? Sure does. Sounds like it. $12 billion of aid packaged to farmers who've been squeezed by the trade war between the U.S. and its top economic partners. Now, I love how, first of all, let me point out something. The way that the news media has gone out of its way to basically say, yeah, to make up for Trump's F up on the old trade policy. Because the way it's presented is that Trump is here as the savior of these two combatants, the U.S. and these foreign. It's unfair what they've done to the farmer. Here comes Trump as the savior. Trump did this. This is Trump's mistake. Stop acting like he is some arbitrary third party that didn't have his hands, his chubby, greasy little freaking fingers into this destruction that he had done himself because he's a moron. The trade wars are easy to win. Duh. Really? But yeah, the way the news media is written, this keeps writing this stuff is it's very much in this vein of, well, thank God he's here to solve the problem that we're going to insist someone else created. No, this is all Donald Trump. The funds will come from U.S. tariff revenues, Trump said during a roundtable event at the White House. Okay, I don't know how much money you think you're giving a lot of that tariff money to billionaires and millionaires, and I think a lot of it's actually getting jammed into Trump's pockets themselves. Most of that money, up to $11 billion, will go to the U.S. Agriculture Department's new Farmer Bridge Assistance Program, which will provide one-time payments to row crop farmers, a White House official said on Monday on CNBC. The remaining $1 billion will be reserved as the USDA evaluates changing market conditions, according to the officials. So he's not giving $12 billion to the farmers. He's giving $11 billion to the farmers, which is a big difference. That's $1 billion less. Trust me, I think that if each and every one of us had $1 billion, life would be pretty good. But that $1 billion is not there. So let's also, not only do they try to give Trump this out as some sort of genius third party, this wasn't me, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah, bitty, blah. The other side of it is that he is somehow giving him $12 billion when he's actually only giving $11 billion. The president was joined by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Agricultural Secretary Brooke Rollins, who is worthless, as well as members of Congress and farmers who raise cattle and grow corn. Wait a second. Why are the cattle farmers there? You just said this was money for row crop farmers. Why did you bring cattle people in? Because the cows don't grow in rows. You know that, right? That's like soybeans and wheat and corn. Those are okay. Democratic lawmakers slammed the administration ahead of the announcement. Trump wants credit for trying to fix the mess he's made, said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Trump tariffs are hammering our farmers. Trump's plan to bail out farmers won't even get agriculture communities back to even, said Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, which, by the way, led me to say something like, oh, wait a minute. When I read that, I said, yeah, wait a second. And I'll come back to that. The administration is framing the money as bridge payments that will help farmers weather the period between U.S. abandoning former President Joe Biden's economic policies and Trump's current agenda back kicking in. Once again, Trump's agenda has already kicked in. Do you know those big piles of soybeans you have behind your house? Yeah, a funny story. If Joe Biden was president, they'd be sold right now, and you wouldn't have a giant pile behind your house. This is all because of Donald Trump. And because of Donald Trump, China stopped buying the ag supplies. And because the Chinese stopped buying the ag supplies, and they're now getting from Argentina and Brazil. Yeah, that's why. So, they keep framing this as Joe Biden. No. Joe Biden was actually selling your product. As a matter of fact, you were getting like $18 a bushel for soybeans. You were getting a great number under Joe Biden. You're not getting squat for Trump because he's horrible and stupid. Trump, some of the American agriculture industry say they're suffering as a result of wide-ranging trade war. especially due to conflicts with China, a major U.S. customer. Because once again, everything that Donald Trump does, if it's bad, it's Joe Biden, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. You know, my God. Talk about some dude that's living in that guy's head. He's an absolute disgrace of a human being. Now, there is a slight little problem here that Ron Wyden talked about. And he said, because wait a second here. $11 billion. Now, once again, well, they said it's $12 billion, but it's actually $11 billion. But $11 billion sounds like a lot of money. But the first thing I said to myself was, wait a second, that's actually I've seen numbers much higher in regards to the losses in the ag sector this year alone, specifically due to Trump's trade policies. Found a story not from months ago, just late October 28th. Soybeans are in storage. Farm bankruptcies are rising. The total farm debt continues to climb. Nearly every measure, American farmers are struggling. Experts say financial pressures are expected to continue mounting due to rising costs, thanks to Trump, low crop prices, thanks to Trump, and the effects of the trade war, Trump. Economists project that growers would see roughly $44 billion in net cash income losses for the 25-26 crops. $44 billion. You got $11 billion? That's a quarter of the damage that you've done. At a September conference on agriculture and trade uncertainty hosted by the Federal Reserve Bank, Sean Arita, professor of North Dakota State University and former senior economist with the USDA, presented projections showing losses across 9 major crops. This was in September, okay? We are now into December, and those losses are even worse. But this is what they said. I mean, we're just going to go with the September numbers and the October report. With production costs far outpacing revenue, Arita said his team at the NDSU Agricultural Risk Policy Center estimate losses of about $20 billion for corn alone, $10 billion for soybeans alone, $8.5 billion for wheat, with peanuts, cotton, barley, oats, grain, sorghum, and rice adding another $6 billion combined. $44 billion worth of losses. And Trump is saying, the savior's here. Sure, I might have done all this to you guys, but we're going to give you 1/4 of what you were going to make if Joe Biden was still the president. And here you go. That's not going to stop this. And we should remind people, it's summer in the Southern Hemisphere right now, and they're starting to get their early crops in. And when they do, and especially when you get to February, the Chinese are going to stop buying from us completely. Again, they're just going to buy Argentinian and Brazilian product because they can and they hate Trump. More on this when I come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
They don't treat them very nice, but you can play.
Hey, it's Alex with Buzz Cut Mowing. Why spend your precious time out in the cold this fall raking, bagging, and stressing over leaves when I can handle it all for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable fall leaf cleanups across the West Metro. Let me do the hard work so you can stay cozy, sip your coffee, and actually enjoy the season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today, and let's make your yard the envy of the neighborhood before the winter hits. Buzz Cut Mowing.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Get the perfect holiday gift. Chanhassen Dinner Theater's gift cards never expire and can be used for any show. White Christmas, the concert series, Stevie Ray's Comedy Cabaret, or coming soon, the high-rolling musical spectacular Guys and Dolls. Visit chanhassendt.com.
Shop local this holiday season with AM 950 advertisers. From theaters and wellness shops to restaurants and retail, there's something for everyone. It's a great way to support the station and local businesses. Find a full list of these partners at am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. Maybe you breathed a sigh of relief that Thanksgiving wasn't at your house this year, but now you're realizing you are going to be hosting something in December and your home isn't ready. But don't worry, there's time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come out and get things in order before your friends and family come over. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home, from tiles, carpets, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and more. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know they're safe and effective. They have a 4.9 rating on Google reviews with over 21,000 satisfied customers. Go ahead and get clean and don't miss this deal. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Spots are filling up fast, so don't wait. Lock yours in today. Happy holidays from all of us at Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. So, yes, Trump has single-handedly cost the ag sector $44 billion worth of profit. But don't worry, he's got $11 billion. Now, if you're saying to yourself, wait a second, isn't $11 billion a lot less than $44 billion? It is. It's one quarter. Now, let's also talk about who's going to get that money. Because if you think that's going to go, the Trump administration is going to try to pretend that it's going to go to the mom and pop, that mom and pop farmer out there, that mom and pop, you know, the Norman Rockwell painting kind of farmer sort of thing. It's not going to do that. All this money is going to go to the wealthiest corporate ag farmers in the country. Michelle Fischbach is the representative for the Minnesota 7th Congressional District. I remember a few years back, they talked about farm subsidies that she got. And apparently they had like 8 adults living at her one address, and they all got 6-figure checks. It was pretty insane. That's who's going to get this money. If you think this money is coming down to the ma and pa farmer, it ain't. It's going to the large corporate ag farmer. You know, I've talked about this before. That big wealthy farmer lot they have out there with that fancy farmhouse and all that stuff, which they actually don't live in. I mean, that's basically that's their set for when they need to take some photos. They actually live in the suburbs of the major metropolitan areas. Their kids go to private school. Mom shops at the finest department stores within any given town. They're part of the country club. They only put on their farming gear, you know, a pair of jeans and a flannel shirt when it's time for photo ops, and they head on out to basically put their foot on a hay bale and hold a pumpkin and act like, I did something. No, they're a corporation. They're not really out there farming, and that's who's going to get the $11 billion. Trust me, those are the people that are going to get the $11 billion. It's already 1/4 of the losses that have been incurred. So that means there are, at best, even if you spread this money evenly over a dry piece of toast, that it's barely covering what, you know, should be there. Already, you were promised a filet mignon. You're getting dry toast with a thin sheen of butter on it. But that's only if they try to give a check to every farmer. They're not giving a check to every farmer. They're not giving it. They're going to give millions and millions and millions of dollars to the largest farmer and just sort of say to the rest of you, you know, it kind of sucks to be you. And once again, come February, when they start really harvesting the crops down in Argentina and in Brazil, who are already undercutting our per bushel rate pretty substantially, they're never coming back. This is all Donald Trump's fault. And okay, I would be remiss if I did not take the time to point out that something that a lot of people are pointing out. all of a sudden you saying farmers, I mean, not everybody in farm country is a Republican. About 2/3 are reliably Republican. But there's about a third of people out there that are still Democrat that can see the lies that they're being told and they're being sold. They can see that after 40 years of Republican rule over rural America, that these towns and these communities are far worse off than they ever were under the Democrats. They've woken up, but they're conservatives because whether it's they're fueled by racism and bigotry, a pettiness to hate the libs, or just, downright stupidity that they don't realize there's other candidates on a ballot, keep voting for Republicans, and the Republicans keep failing them. But you're the people that this last election cycle talked about, you're wasting my the government's money by taking a check. Socialism is bad. We need to stop these people who are taking my taxpayer money. And now all of a sudden, you guys are blubber, 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 blubber. You don't know how hard it is, man, to be a farmer. I do know how hard it is. That's why I'd never vote frickin' Republican to save myself, but okay, sure. I know what your margins are. I know how hard you have to work. I know the family has to get another full-time job someplace else just so you can get health insurance. I don't understand what the economics of what you're doing are. But you are the people that voted for a guy who said, I'm going to take away social safety net programs from these people who just expect a check. And here you are, now that Donald Trump, the man you voted for, the man who in his first term torpedoed all your ag markets, the man who I kept telling you, and a lot of other people said, he's going to torpedo your ag markets again. The same man that you proudly voted for has torpedoed your ag markets, and you're losing everything. And now all of a sudden, we're hurting out here. We need some government money. I feel a government should help out its people. I'm consistent, though. I think we should help you out. But you guys were saved by Joe Biden, and you immediately turned on him. Let's go, Brandon. I mean, you guys immediately turned on him after he saved your cabooses before. And now all of a sudden you expect the benevolence of the money makers, the Democrats, these democratic cities and counties that generate the vast majority of the wealth of this country. You are banking on us to now come to your aid, because now the reality hits. I feel sorry for you guys, because you got 3 years of this. And even if the Democrats take back the House and the Senate coming up next year, China's not coming back. And because Trump is a racist fool, he doesn't realize the best emerging markets for our products are Africa. He doesn't want anything to do with Africa because, But here you are, hat in hand, now saying the case. I hope you guys, I think one of the best things that happened through the tragedy that was the loss of SNAP benefits for the American people was that for the first time in a long time, people actually represented who was the most common type of SNAP benefit recipient. And it wasn't that black family from the inner city. It was a white single mom already working a full-time job in rural America. And all of a sudden, when that started coming to reality and people said, okay, this is the people that are mostly affected by it, the lies started peeling away. That's when things started to turn. You guys are going to watch. I mean, my guess is a third of the American farmers will be out of business by the end of next year. A third of the American farms will be foreclosed on and shut down by the end of next year. A third of them. And yet you guys keep voting for the people that are basically hammering out the foreclosure signs on your front freaking yard. I can't help you with that. I can give you a little bit of money, hope that you get through, hope that sometimes it wakes you up. But, you're already convinced that, socialism is bad as you scream for more socialism for yourself. I can't help you with that one. Jonathan Larson, when we do come back, it is the Matt McNeil Show.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
This December, Fortune's Pool Theater celebrates 20 years of creating theater in Minnesota with a free festival of Pirate Mayhem, featuring 2 irreverent R-rated musicals in repertory, Yar, the Lusty Busty Pirate Musical, and the world premiere, Have Yourself a Lusty Busty Xmas. 3 powerhouse women playing 20 roles, a live orchestra, hilarious songs, and sword fights. Join the cosmic madness now through December 21st at the Hive Collaborative in St. Paul. Tickets are free as our gift to you. Reserve at fortunespooltheater.org.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is
Can you all hear me okay?
Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950 social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM 950 trusts Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Some versions of A Christmas Carol are hot toddies, sweet and cozy. Open Eye Theater's holiday tradition, Scrooge in Rouge. It's a Boilermaker, a raucous Victorian vaudeville-style musical that spikes your holiday with camp and chaos. Scrooge in Rouge is backed by audience demand for the 3rd year in a row. Celebrate the holidays with Open Eye Theater, now through December 28th. Bring your friends, bring your festive spirit, and leave your figgy pudding at home. Christmas can be a drag in the best way. Tickets at openeyetheater.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. This evening, a chance of snow with temperatures rising to 26 overnight. Then on Tuesday, a rain-snow mix possible with a high of 33. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lindale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Broadcasting in the evenings on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, in the afternoon drive and the late nights in Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW, and of course in Minneapolis, St. Paul, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Monday. Good to have you with us. Jonathan Larson is kind enough, a veteran journalist and a TV producer. He's working with our good friend Cliff Schechter over at Blue Amp Media, and he has a humdinger of a story here, which I'm going to link to a little bit later on. Is January 6th happening again in Venezuela? The alarming Trump plot you're not hearing about. Jonathan is kind enough to join us to talk about this article. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. So your story is very interesting. And the first thing I want to say about your story, which I did not realize this back in 2020, was I just thought they made up the Venezuela thing. Like Elvis.
Everyone thinks he's making all this stuff up. It's so true. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But the truth is that this was a planted story, and we're seeing this now with Trump, and there is a planted story about the Somalis in Minneapolis, St. Paul that got to Trump, and guess what happens? Same thing, that someone created this fake narrative, ran over to Trump, showed him this, and that became, Sidney Powell. Was through Sidney Powell, correct?
Yep, that's right.
So talk a little bit about that before we get into this, because the same people that were behind that are behind what's kind of this push towards war with Venezuela right now, correct?
Yeah, that's roughly right. The suspicions about Dominion and Smartmatic and Venezuela have been around for quite a while because there were some actual genuine connections there. Those are all fallow and gone and dead at this point. But I think it's really important to underscore what you just said, which is a point that I've been trying to make to the people, and that I think explains why Democrats largely have not picked up on this, is that people assume such mendacity and disregard for the truth from President Trump that they just assume he's making up these wild claims about Venezuela. He's not. Just as we saw within the second Bush administration, there is a willingness to cherry pick and elevate convenient narratives that fit in with what they want to do. So the Sidney Powell story. You want me to lay out the Sidney Powell story?
Well, just briefly, because it was, once again, it came from her. Apparently, that's how it got to Trump. And once again, jangling the keys in front of the toddler. That's how it got to him. But like I said, it's kind of one of those things where not necessarily I want to break that down, but that connection apparently never stopped. I mean, it was there for 2020 because it was convenient then, but now it seems to be more convenient now with whatever they're trying to do down in the Caribbean with Venezuela.
So right, they were these two guys that I've been reporting on. It turns out, were involved with getting Sidney Powell, the witness that was behind her famous "Release the Kraken" warning, and the January 6th committee never found out, where did you get this witness? Now we know that these same two guys that you and I are discussing, they were responsible. One for bringing the witness out of Venezuela. The other, Michael Isikoff and another journalist reported last year, that guy brought the witness to Sidney Powell in 2020. What they're doing now is, there actually was something of a break in their communications with the Trump people, because remember, Trump wasn't in office. So these two guys tried to sell their narrative to the Biden administration, which did not buy it. And, these two guys have made all kinds of claims about, well, that's because the Venezuelans got to them. So there are high-ranking people in the CIA, State Department, Congress, all bought off by Venezuela and their Venezuela's partners in Cuban intelligence. I'm not even sharing the wildest stuff that they have to say, but now they are back in touch, and they got back in touch even during the transition prior to Inauguration Day 2025. And now they are also, and have been for the last couple of years, they are backed by Patrick Byrne, who, if you remember, was the Overstock.com CEO, former multimillionaire, who has been subsidizing their efforts to find witnesses, to find evidence, to convince Trump of a vast, sweeping array of charges, including training and deploying Tren de Aragua here as a paramilitary covert force to destabilize the country in 20 specific locations. Not that it's it's really important to acknowledge, I think, that Venezuela's grossly corrupt government, right? I think we can all acknowledge that. Tren de Aragua is a real gang. And has Tren de Aragua ever bought off a government official in Venezuela? Probably the case. Do gangs down there control some of the prisons? That seems to be the case. What's very hard to imagine is this narrative that Trump has laid out, that Maduro, the president of Venezuela, opened the prisons and then told everyone to go to the U.S., and that they then did it, right, at his order. What we have is a gang, a pretty loose cellular gang, by the way. This is not a tightly controlled mafia family style gang. This is pretty cellular and non-centralized. And they came here to the U.S. for the same reason hardworking, law-abiding immigrants do, to make some money, because Venezuela's a mess. But that's just one part of the narrative. The other part, of course, is elections. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say the people you're talking about, a former CIA official, Gary Bernstein,
Burnson, yeah.
Burnson. Venezuelan expatriate Martin, is it Rodell?
It's Martin Rodil, a Venezuelan dissident expatriate. That's right.
And then, of course, Patrick Byrne, you mentioned as well. The thing which I find is interesting, okay, so there seems to be a bit of an evolution of just what you just said. I mean, reminder, when they started doing the ice raids, where was one of the first places they head to? Colorado. And they head out there because the Venezuelans had complete control over massive swamp, and then they couldn't find them. And they couldn't. And it almost seems like when you, as you described that, it kind of then comes up as like, okay, then how do we use this Venezuela stuff if we've now we've called our own bluff? They aren't there, and they're not there in the sense being. So now all of a sudden we no longer really talk about that, which was the primary focus of the Trump administration when they were going the ice route. Now it's boats leaving the Venezuelan coast, and we have to blow them up, and we have to overthrow the government, and we're going to be, we're going to have boots on the ground in Venezuela, sort of thing. It seems like an evolution of the narrative. We've got the people who are saying these things. We have to make this work, even though they had their first lie. The second lie, the 2020 election was obviously debunked. And then, of course, this we went to Colorado to find all these gang members, and it's funny, not there.
I mean, I don't think they would accept that the ICE aspect of the narrative has been debunked. In fact, back in March, the Miami Herald first reported on Burnson's involvement in this. That was not me. That was the Herald. That was how I found out and got started down this rabbit hole. But Burnson said that we gave the Trump team a massive tranche of documents, a lot of which basically were personnel files. Like, you need to pick up these guys, hundreds of people apparently, and they claim that of the hundreds of alleged, right, a tattoo meant you were Tren de Aragua. They did deport hundreds of those people, including a lot of them to the El Salvador prison. And Burnson claimed, or at least the Miami Herald reported, that one of Burnson's team claimed that those initial roundups were provided, hundreds of them apparently were provided by Burnson, and we found out later, Martin Rodil working with Burnson. They've been business partners for years. So I don't think they would agree that part failed.
Well, but we do know that some of the people that they arrested were like makeup artists and stuff like this. It almost seems like it was not so much, it wasn't Venezuelan gang members, it was just Venezuelans. And sure, there might have been one or two gang members or former gang members in there, or people here who are Venezuelan that had a criminal record. But it just does seem like, okay, give me a name of anyone who's Venezuelan. Oh, here's a makeup artist in Los Angeles. Well, they're clearly a gang member. And that was, we all see what kind of the truth is, but this is kind of, they keep selling like this is some sort of, we got all these hardened criminals.
And there's been reporting recently showing what a small percentage of those deported and detained people actually have any kind of criminal record. Now, what these two guys will say is a lot of these people had criminal records in other countries, which maybe, but then, okay, extradite them. Like, on what basis are you imprisoning them? But also, I think the much bigger point here, and this is why it would be useful and helpful for Democrats to get involved in oversight on this specific aspect of it. If we get a sense of what was the alleged intel provided by these two guys, then we can start to kick the tires on its veracity. And one of the things I reported in a story that I think may have come out either before or after the one you saw was that there's a legal filing from Rodil where he talks about explicitly how a political agenda was behind bringing out one of these witnesses who, by the way, turned out to be Powell's witness, and also was basically brought out specifically with the political agenda of making one of Maduro's top lieutenants look bad and get in trouble with the DEA. That was explicit in what Rodil was saying. We should start connecting these dots with every single name. We don't know where these names came from. We don't know what the agenda was of the Venezuelan source that allegedly gave those hundreds of now ruined lives to Burnson and Rodil, which eventually got to the Trump team and eventually led to all those makeup artists and tattoo havers being deported, we're entitled to do some actual, tire kicking on this. And by the way, the only reason Bernsen went public was because his narrative had just been refuted a couple days before, when we found out, thanks to the New York Times, they reported that Trump's own intelligence community had said this narrative of a paramilitary army sent here by Maduro, we don't have evidence to support that. Mm-hmm. So Trump's own people, that aspect of it has certainly been debunked. Oh, and just to tie the bow back to 2020, if I may, they claim that the Venezuelans control, or at least can manipulate, the results in 72 countries around the world.
That's like saying Luxembourg can do it. I mean, it's like
saying anyone can do it. There's no example where that's credible.
Luxembourg is doing that. Everyone's like, oh, okay.
I'm doing it.
But isn't that the whole point, though? And I mean, once again, I'm going to tie it back to the whole thing with the attack on the Somali population in Minneapolis, St. Paul right now. There was people that were from the Somali community that did abuse some of the social safety net programs and steal money from them.
Yeah.
They didn't send that money, though, to any terrorist group. It was for greed. They basically stealing the money for this. But the Trump administration doesn't care about reality. They care about the flimsiest of arguments to justify what their real goals are. And so it doesn't, as you said, it'd be good to have people investigate this. The problem is that for Trump, he's getting the slightest bit of anything that can try to validate his arguments, and they will run to the most extreme and say, this is all what's going on. There was all these gang members. There were all these horrible things. They were all horrible. They're trying to take over the world. They're trying to overthrow these governments. And that's just not true.
I think whether you go with the evil or dumb excuse, either way, you can get bad intel readings. Now, I should say, because I don't want to be guilty of subscribing to the most extreme interpretation here, Trump himself and most of his cabinet secretaries are not going, at least publicly, as far as these two guys have gone in their claims on right-wing radio, including Alex Jones, including the Adam Carolla show. They're making these wild. They've even insinuated that Fox News is in on it because Fox wouldn't listen to them. They claimed they had meetings with Fox News. They were dismissed by Fox News. And then why did Fox pay the settlement? Because the cartel funded the settlement payment, of course, to settle the lawsuit that they brought because they're Dominion too. So we don't see the administration going that far, but they are willing to share publicly, including Tulsi Gabbard, who they've bragged. Patrick Byrne has bragged about it.
I'll tell you what, Jonathan Larson joining us. I'm going to take a break. Let's come on back. Let's talk a little bit more about this when we do return, okay? It is the Matt McNeil Show. Holiday shopping is easy with the Park Tavern. From now until December 31st, stop into the Park Tavern, buy a $100 gift card. You'll receive a $25 Park Tavern gift card for free. You heard that right. Buy a $100 Park Tavern gift card. You'll receive a $25 gift card for free. And the best part is you get to decide which gift card you keep and which gift card you gift. The Park Tavern is open regular hours throughout the holiday season, offering great food and family fun. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park, the holidays are just better with the Park Tavern.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Hi, Hi, I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Our customers call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities because here, joy isn't an escape, it's resistance. You'll find bookshelves full of inspiration, 2 cats who think they run the place, and Gigi, our gentle shop dog. Visit us at 405 Penn Avenue South or online at bighillbooks.com. And be sure to say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Jonathan Larson joining us right now, talking about his articles that he's been writing here for Blue Amp, a media that basically, why aren't we paying more attention to the people that are trying to drive us down bad paths that are, with this Venezuelan stuff. You had mentioned before we went to the break about the fact that these guys are trying to pitch this, and even conservative media outlets aren't buying necessarily this. When you look at the boat attacks, which, I mean, Tom Cott and the senator are saying, oh yeah, they never even told us what direction the boats were going. And I'm like, oh my God, you realize what a mess this is right now. And they with no evidence of what they're, of anyone doing any wrongdoing at all. I mean, worst case scenario, they're driving drugs from one country to another country, neither of which are the United States of America. And then we're doing double taps on these guys. I mean, they also have the Trump administration, really kind of pushing the saber rattling at this point in arguing about, us invading Venezuela. Is that really where the end game is for these guys? That they feel as if, if we can convince the American government that this is a worthwhile cause, that we can get them in and overthrow the government and install a America-friendly OPEC member, we should mention, into position out there in Venezuela.
Well, look, I certainly can't claim to know what the end game here is, but I will say that based on everything we know about Trump, based on the conversations, the interviews that these two guys have given, Bernsen and Rodil, it seems quite clear that regime change is the goal. In terms of the method for achieving that, my guess is that none of these people want an actual full-blown ground war. My guess, and again, this is based on listening to and reading what these folks have to say, they support, I'm going to blank on her name now, Maria Corina Machado, the Nobel Prize winner. They want to see her take power, but they have concerns that there are elements within the administration that want other people to take power. They refer to them as cartel light, but they're also
that's a great term. Cartel light, you say?
Cartel light, less filling, same great taste.
Wow.
Yeah. And so even some of the people that the Trump administration has looked at as potential replacements for Maduro, these two guys say, nope, those are just, deputies within the cartel. But my guess is what they're trying to do, what they're hoping to do, the Trump administration, is to provide scary visuals and enough genuine capability to promote anxiety and dissension among the ranks, among the rank and file, so that there will be either pressure on Maduro to say, hey, buddy, this is not tenable. You've got to pick whichever safe haven they'll let you take, but it can't be you anymore. This is just not tenable. Or to take him out, right? The opposition, if the opposition thinks, if they believe that the USS Gerald Ford will provide air and ballistic cover for them, right? If there are like elements of the Venezuelan military that remain loyal to Maduro, maybe they can call in an airstrike and take that out without American boots getting on the ground. I find it very difficult to believe that Trump is going to sign off on, get me a U.S. Marines Expeditionary Force, 15,000, 20,000 boots, hit the shores. That seems to me like an extremely unlikely scenario. But also, it's worth noting, I'm often wrong about what this guy's willing to do.
Well, it's basically it's a cart being driven by a drunk horse. You don't know where you're going. You're just going someplace.
Hang on.
But there is an element of this when we talk about this, which it's like Ukraine. I mean, sure, Russia's going to take this land. Do you think the people that are there are going to just go buy this? I mean, you're going to be occupying a hostile territory, and Russia doesn't have the military forces to do that. When you look at, as you described earlier, the dynamics of what's going on in the country, you can say we're going to put this person in there, but if the cartels don't like her, well, she's not going to last long, especially the second that the anchor is pulled up on the boat that's out in the harbor from the U.S. It's the clock is probably ticking. And I think that's probably why the Trump administration is looking at the cartel light option, which is they're trying to find somebody that wouldn't be immediately assassinated upon taking office.
It could be, but I also think it's really important to not to resist the temptation to think that the cartels run everything. There is corruption, but we have not yet seen proof that as Bernsen describes it, Bernsen describes the Maduro regime as the cartel, synonymous with the exact same thing, a $2.7 trillion criminal organization, the largest in human history, according to him. It's something less than that, right? It's a lot of individual corruption. Even just now, earlier today, I was reading a case, court records relating to the former Intel chief, Hugo Carvajal, who was he pled guilty this summer in the U.S. And the prosecution basically said, this is a cartel of drug runners. And one of the things they had to do was they had to make payments to avoid being arrested or investigated in Venezuela. Well, if the cartel's running everything in Venezuela, you don't need to worry about being arrested or investigated. So even the U.S. position is self-contradictory. It's a cartel, but also they have to worry about actual law and order, law enforcement in Venezuela. So which is it? So I think that there's my guess is that the Trump administration is not inclined to put in someone who they genuinely believe is strongly affiliated with the cartel. My guess is that these two guys, Bernsen and Rudil, simply see the others as too accommodationist to what's going on, or frankly, just not sufficiently right-wing enough.
We're at the end. I got to wrap this up, but this is fantastic stuff. And as Jonathan is pointing out, this is a story you're just not seeing covered, partly because every day is a dumpster fire in this country. So this is the kind of stuff that falls in the cracks. That's why you need to get to Blue Ant Media, follow Blue Ant Media on Substack, and also Jonathan Larson, who is publishing there. And I will post the link to this articles and his page a little bit later on. Jonathan, great stuff. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time this afternoon.
Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate your interest and attention to the issue.
Thank you much, Jonathan Larson. Thank you very much, Chicago, Seattle. I will talk to you tomorrow. Hour 2 of the show coming up for Minneapolis, St. Paul. That comes up next.
Here at AM 950, we're facing a critical moment. In today's political climate, the very idea of independent progressive media is under constant pressure. It's never been more challenging for stations like ours to survive, especially under the current administration. When the very idea of free speech is under pressure, our whole station works hard every day to be a platform for it. We all believe that giving a voice to communities who need to be heard, especially when their voices are underrepresented, is the best way to support free speech. This kind of programming is a daily challenge to produce, and we simply can't do it alone. Your support is what makes it possible for Minnesota's only progressive voice to stay on the airwaves day in and day out. Please go to am950radio.com and make a contribution today. As a token of our appreciation for standing with us, we'll send you a brand new 2026 AM950 calendar featuring photos taken by our own Matt McNeil. Again, that's am950radio.com.
It's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, and host of the Bradcast on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The Supreme Court's heard a challenge to President Trump's power to fire board members of independent agencies. Sagar Meghani reports the court's conservative majority seems likely to back the president.
During oral arguments, Chief Justice John Roberts and the 5 others suggested they would overturn the 90-year-old decision that is limited when presidents can fire those members.
Humphrey's executor is just a dried husk of whatever people used to think it was.
The court's already let some board members be ousted, even as legal challenges continue. Ketanji Brown Jackson argues it's a presidential power grab, allowing the chief executive to strip experts from key institutions.
And replacing them with loyalists and people who don't know anything.
Amit Agarwal, who represents a fired FTC commissioner, worries about the potential damage.
Everything is on the chopping block.
Sagar Meghani at the White House.
The president's announced a $12 billion aid package to boost farmers who have struggled to sell crops while getting hit by rising costs after the president raised tariffs on China. Trump says the money is coming from tariff revenue. China's exports returned to growth in November, pushing its trade surplus for the year past the $1 trillion mark for the first time. On Wall Street, stocks retreated to start the week. The Dow dropped 215 points, or about 0.4%. The Dow slipped 0.3%, the Nasdaq 0.1%. Berkshire Hathaway weighed on the market after announcing a leadership shakeup, but Warner Brothers Discovery jumped after Paramount took an offer to buy the company directly to its shareholders. And a 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck off northern Japan. More than 20 people have been reported injured, mostly by falling objects, and it triggered a tsunami. Nuclear power plants are conducting safety checks, and some train services have been suspended. The Japan Meteorological Agency is warning of aftershocks and increased risk of a megaquake. This is AP News.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
With Progressive, it's easy to reach customer service with our app, website, chat, or by phone. Because when getting help is hard, it's not help at all.
Little help. A little help over here. Thank you for calling Bench Press Assistance. What? Due to excessive gym volume, all available spotters are currently lifting heavy weights off the chests of other bench pressers. Seriously? Please continue to hold, and we will remove the barbell from your chest in the order in which your cry for help was received.
Getting assistance should be easy. With Progressive, it is. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you with your holiday shopping. Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. And if you're not sure what book to get, the friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at recommendations for any age and taste. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Je te dis joyeux Noël, tu me dis joyeux Noël.
Hey, Francois, look at those pretty gifts.
Oui, j'ai commandé des macarons sur nicoletsmacarons.com.
You ordered these macarons at nicoletsmacarons.com? That's great because they ship throughout the country.
Oui, et ils ont même mis le logo de mon entreprise sur les macarons.
And they put your company logo on the macaroons.
Et voilà un cadeau pour toi.
A box for me? Thank you, Francois. And I have a gift for you from nicoletsmacaroons.com.
Joyeux Noël.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. This evening, a chance of snow with temperatures rising to 26 overnight. Then on Tuesday, a rain-snow mix possible with a high of 33. We need your support to help keep Progressive Radio on the air in the Twin Cities here at AM 950. If you can, head to am950radio.com and make a donation. As a thank you, we'll send you our 6th annual AM 950 calendar. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Monday. Nice to have you with us here today. Matt and Patrick here, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Guest free this next hour. And thanks to Jonathan Larson for joining us and talking about some of his writing over at Blue Amp. I want to, first of all, we do need to kind of pay attention to the storm that could possibly coming in through here. But to say that there is some mixed freaking messaging with this one is an understatement. So, okay, so there's a swath of snow that's supposed to come through mainly north of us in the Twin Cities and into Wisconsin. And the Twin Cities Metro is really on the southern border of this storm. Of the totals. And for lack of a better way to say it, this looks more like a freaking spring storm than it does like a December storm. It's going to be rainy on the south side of the front line and then snowy. And of course, as we all know, wherever that change over to snow happens, that's where they're going to get hammered. They're going to get, 5-6 inches of snow possible. Well, right now, they're anticipating that being in the North Metro, just north of Hennepin County, and all the counties that basically go from Anoka County down to Washington County, they're basically all in the winter storm watch right now. It still is not, it's not a foot of snow. It's like 5-6 inches, I think, is the worst that they're going to say. But it's still 5 or 6 inches. But then they're saying, well, it's going to rain, and then it's going to be a mix, then it's going to be snow, but then it's going to rain again. It's going to be like 40 degrees or 35, 40 freaking degrees. And I'm like, okay, wait a second here. What's going on? All right. I guess, you should be prepared tomorrow that depending on where you're at in the metro area, if this storm shifts, and this is going to be primarily tomorrow afternoon, so the afternoon drive tomorrow, you could be in a world of hurt with snow, or it could just be raining and sleety, a little ice out there, or I don't know. There is just a real big quality coming from the weather forecasters on this one right now. So, yeah, a little bit of everything. I will say this. Say we get the worst of the worst. It's going to be like 6 inches of heavy snow. I will say this. You do not want to wait to get that snow up because it sounds like behind this storm, not only is it going to be windy, but it's also going to get really cold. So, and if it's really wet snow, that kind of becomes... You got to chisel that stuff out of there, and that's not good. But, we'll have to see. If this thing shifts northbound, maybe all we're seeing is rain and maybe a few flakes. I don't know. You see, there is a magnificent term that people just don't have the ability to say anymore. I don't know. Because we all want to be absolutes and perfect and all these sort of things. You can say, I don't know. And I'd say just be careful, be prepared. It's going to be icky. And I think definitely north of us towards Duluth, it's going to be really bad. So if you have to drive that, you might want to either leave early or, kind of plan to give yourself plenty of time to go up that way. But yeah, you just want to be careful with that. So I did. Okay. So Patrick, because I've been trying to, 3 years ago, I left this radio station and had a drunk driver plow into my back of my car, and my back, and broke my back. My T5, T6 vertebrae got broken, So I got rods and screws. So call me C-3PO at this point. And I had that happen. And ever since it's been a process. I'm coming back and working as hard. I've really gotten to the point where I like to get out and walk a lot, but it's been, because of this recovery, it's becoming my new lifestyle and I enjoy that. I'm having to go to the Mall of America to do it because I will say this, you can get 5 miles in pretty easily at the Mall of America without really overlapping yourself. I mean, if you ever go to like a Y gym track, I mean, that's like 90 laps to do something like that. You can do this, just by walking the floors of the mall, and you're going to get a ton of miles in there. I've been doing that. I will say it is interesting to go to the mall because of this. And I saw a few stories about this. It seems like the focus on stuff that they're pushing is far more about the wealthiest wealthy, and then there's just kind of an inertia of everyone else getting dragged through. There's a lot of appeal on like high-end stuff. And I'm not saying there isn't other bargains that are there, but it definitely does feel like there almost is a resignation that the people that we have to get are the people that have got a lot of money to spend this holiday season. And the rest of us, well, get a gift card to something, I guess. I that would be my case. Have you spent much time in the malls at all, shopping and all this year?
Not yet this year. We'll see if I even make it out. That's, the people I like to give gifts for, it's not really where I'm going to find stuff. So I just don't go to the mall that much.
There is such a trend. I mean, it's kind of become the thing where basically just people give gift cards. And, it's, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it allows a person to go buy what they want to get and stuff like that. But I also feel as well that I think it becomes a punt because, and whether we're just too busy or you just, you've got other things you've prioritized, it does, there is a lack of personal thing there. So I commend you, Patrick, on that one, going out and doing the personal thing. I will say, as I was walking through the mall yesterday, that I was hoping ICE wasn't going to show up out there because there were, we live in a large metropolitan area. It is a tourist destination. I was a little concerned about whether or not I'd see the ICE Gestapo show up and start harassing people and dragging people out of the Mall of America. My guess is that the Trump administration doesn't want that kind of visual of families at the Mall of America being dragged out of the mall by masked vigilante police state people. But it did cross my mind that this would, would I put it past them? No, they definitively want to basically target people on the way they look, whether the skin color or how they're dressed. It is the case. As a matter of fact, White House border czar Tom Homan, who that guy has, international charges written all over him, Sunday defended Trump's immigration crackdown in Minnesota, saying the state is home to a large illegal Somali community, despite local officials' comments that the vast majority of the Somalis on the list are American citizens, which they are. But once again, as I was pointing with Jonathan Larson, there's just this thin veil of truth that they're looking for to justify their unjustifiable actions. Homan denied, however, that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has stepped up its deportation campaign in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area in response to Trump's comments last week about Somali immigrants, whom the president called garbage and should be removed from the country. Homan also has said that ICE agents are not targeting people based on their appearance. Ha! Homan is, for God's sakes. I mean, there's just a video out today of a woman who is black in Louisiana. I think it was screaming and running for her house saying, I'm an American citizen, trying to get back to their child, as ICE agents track her down because she ain't white. I'm not aware of what the president was thinking when he said that. Homan said, well, let me help you. He's a racist pig. But I agree with Trump from day one. He said, we are concerned about the public safety threat and national security threats. We also know that there's a large illegal Somali community there and that there's a large illegal alien community there. So without proving evidence, we're going to arrest every illegal alien that we find there. Now, you guys arrest a lot of people who are legally here. U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar of the Minnesota Somali community's most high-profile member and the target of Trump's ire on Sunday reiterated her criticism of the president's comments about Somalia. It's complicated. It's completely disgusting, Omar said on Face the Nation, echoing comments made to Reuters earlier this week. There are Americans he is calling garbage, and we feel there's an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community and an unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me, which is true. I mean, Ilhan Omar lives rent-free in Trump's noggin. About 80,000 Somalis live in Minnesota, mostly the Twin Cities metro region. Mayor Jacob Fry has said the vast majority are U.S. citizens, most Somali-born. But you see, it's funny because they fall in love with the narrative, and when they said, no, they're here legally, they're all citizens, the first thing they say is, well, they got their citizenship illegally, and without any evidence of that. So it's notice how they do it. Their bigotry knows no, I mean, there always is a bigoted racist response. Oh, they're all here illegally, bigoted and racist. No, they're not. They're here legally. Oh, well, they got their status illegally, bigoted, racist. I mean, it's Hitler would be blushing. Let's just be honest about it. Most Somalis born outside the United States come as refugees from Somalia's brutal decades-long civil war, which triggered an exodus of more than 1 million people starting in 1991. The U.S. began issuing visas to the Somali refugees in 1992. Trump's immigration crackdown has largely been met with support from or sidestepping from the issue by Republicans who control the Senate and House of Representatives. Oh, yeah. The Republicans are just... It is amazing to watch where they're at right now. And I'll get to that. I'll get to that a little bit later on this hour. I'll get to that. CARE 11 has a fairly disturbing video. On Saturday, ICE agents raided a home in Burnsville, detained 4 people, according to family members at the house. A Ring camera footage shows more than a dozen agents at the front door of the home on McAndrews Road. They just kept on banging on the door until they broke it down, said Sofia Alvarado. Although through a translator, Alvarado's husband owns the home and they rent the lower level. Damage could be seen not only in the front door, but also on multiple doors throughout the home on both levels. Alvarado heard banging, and she, along with 3 other family members on the upper floor, hid in the bathroom, not knowing who was at the door. You know, if your police agency sounds like a criminal organization trying to get into the house, you're doing it wrong. Or in their mind, I think they're doing it right. Angel, Sophia's brother, said ICE agents took his sister, mom, daughter, and niece into the kitchen and made them hand over their phones. They were all scared, crying. They were pointing with the guns not to move. So guns drawn on what seems to be family having, was it breakfast? Was it Saturday morning? They were all scared. They're crying. They're pointing the guns not to move. He said all 4 are U.S. citizens and were able to show their paperwork to ICE eventually. Sophia said she started when the couple's renting the lower level was headed home from the grocery store. According to Sophia, the couple was followed home by ICE agents. So they saw, once again, let's go back to Holman's kind of whole argument. We're not targeting people with how they look. They saw people that looked like they might be, and without cause followed them back to this house because they were Latino. The Ring camera footage shows ICE agents detaining the man while the woman runs away. Family said she ran into the house and hid with her 7-year-old boy. On Sunday, a large hole could be seen through the bedroom door. Sophia and other family members at the house said ICE agents detained both these 7-year-olds' parents, and then the father has a work permit. Sophia also says ICE also detained another man downstairs and a 4th man, a father of 2 kids with a 3rd child on the way. His wife was who asked to remain anonymous for safety reasons, is 6 months pregnant. She said as soon as her husband walked out of the room, she didn't see him again. She hid with their 7-year-old daughter and a 1-year-old, half-year-old boy. When she went out, they were pointing the guns at her. She said the family is here she said the family is here illegally from Honduras to work, and that ICE told her to voluntarily self-deport. A translator said, she said that if you can have someone help her, have her husband come back home, because the state that she's in with the 2 kids and 1 more on the way, she thinks it's going to be very hard for her. So we should remind ourselves, this is the Christmas season. And a big story of the story of Jesus is that after he was born, King Herod wanted to kill him. And so they had to flee to get away from him. The same people who are browbeating you with, you've got to say Merry Christmas, Jeebus, Jeebus. The same people doing that are the same people that if a Middle Eastern baby was born, hey, King Herod's got a point. He needs to talk to you about something. They would round him up and deport him too. These people want to come here and do the jobs that the rest of us don't want to do. And as a matter of fact, it's I think it's comically hilarious, the number of people who screamed and bellowed about they're taking all the good jobs. And now that it's roofing and gardening and scrubbing toilets, those same racist, bigoted white guys who are 20-time losers, who couldn't get out of their own damn way, who are constantly looking to blame other people for their own mistakes in their lives, all of a sudden are like, well, I didn't say I wanted that job. This is disgusting. I mean, how many raids are going to happen on Christmas and Christmas Day? Christmas Eve, Christmas Day? Because I guarantee, my guess is it's not going to be 0. And that ICE Gestapo is going to enjoy knocking down people's doors on Christmas. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. A lot to get to on this, including the complete lack of any morality left within the Minnesota Republican Party. Well, I shouldn't say it's not a complete lack. There are 1 or 2 people who seem to be showing some base level of it, but the rest of the party is absolute garbage. I'll come back to that in a second. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. Maybe you breathed a sigh of relief that Thanksgiving wasn't at your house this year, but now you're realizing you are going to be hosting something in December and your home isn't ready. But don't worry, there's time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come out and get things in order before your friends and family come over. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home, from tiles, carpets, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and more. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know they're safe and effective. They have a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews with over 21,000 satisfied customers. Go ahead and get clean and don't miss this deal. Call Zero Res right now, 952-ZERO-RES, or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Spots are filling up fast, so don't wait. Lock yours in today. Happy holidays from all of us at Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. It's been great working with so many of the passionate AM 950 listeners over the years. We have realized how important AM 950 is to the community. I want to see AM 950 continue to grow and continue to thrive into the future. To help continue to grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to do your part by liking and sharing the content on AM 950 social media platforms.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Ryan has always told me the best time to get work done is during the cold colder months of the year because demand is much lower. He is backing that up again by offering 30% off labor on windows and siding from now until the end of December. Call Snap Construction now to get 30% off labor on windows and siding. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Trust the company AM950 Trust, Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, and window contractor in the metro area. Get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you with your holiday shopping. Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. And if you're not sure what book to get, the friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at recommendations for any age and taste. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. 952-946-6205. It's the least Christian Republicans of all time, but don't worry, they'll tell you they're Christian. As they encourage this attacks on the Somali community, as well as also the rounding up of people who are just here to try to do basic work. And by the way, the main reason why I think a lot of Republicans are much more quiet about this is because they've got assurances that ICE won't come on out to their farms and take the undocumented workers they need to work their farms and their dairies and their processing plants. That those undocumented workers, well, they're not the same thing as the ones in the metro. Patrick, you had some points here about what's been going on here in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, the first thing was, how many arrests have there been? I don't know, 10, 2 weeks into this operation by ICE, and so how much money are they spending to only have, 24 people under arrest at this point? And the other thing was, it seemed like they're going after a lot more people than just the stated Somali targets that they, racists came up with.
Well, and they just, as this story from Fox, Care 11 pointed out that they just saw, oh, those are two Hispanic looking people. Let's follow them home from the grocery store. What kind of monsters are you guys? I mean, seriously. I mean, you're spot on, Patrick. It is about fear and intimidation. And that was your words there. He said during the break there, this is about fear and intimidation. And it is. There's no value here. And I like to give credit where credit is due. There has been one Minnesota Republican who has said, wait a second, no, this isn't good. Jim Abler was frustrated after hearing President Trump call Somalis garbage, and he said he wants them out of the U.S. Abler decided to write a Trump a letter admonishing the president for his comments, inviting him to come to Minnesota, meet with Somali people, and see for himself what they're like. The Somalis I know many, there are nothing of the sort, the Anoka senator wrote on Thursday. They are business people, drivers, hourly workers supporting their families, investors, nurses, students, and clerics. No man, woman, or child is more or less in the eyes of our Lord God Most High, and none of them are trash. Wow. Hey, it's a Christian claiming Republican that actually has read the Bible. What do you know? At the end of a Tuesday cabinet meeting, Trump went on a rant about Somalis in Minnesota, a community he has repeatedly targeted with recent weeks with accusations of fraud, money, and laundering. Once again, it's the latest. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. These are people that do nothing but complain. Trump said, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Abler told the Star Tribune he was troubled by Trump's comments as well as the fallout. He says there's too much acrimony. He said, I don't like the part about that part about politics. Abler said he didn't post a letter online, but his assistant emailed a copy to a Somali friend who has been upset about Trump's xenophobic attacks on the community. The friend posted it online and took off on social media with Abler getting comments all the way from Somalia. It's all organic, he said. It's amazing what a little kindness can do. Abler's seatmate on the Senate floor, Senator Omar Fateh, the DFLer, reposted the letter on Facebook and thanked Abler, saying he's the only Republican who's spoken out for the Somali community. He is. He's the only one. The Christian right, as Trump once again tries to create a second-tier class of human being. And not only, so you have Abler. We talked about Tom Emmer. Okay, 30 years ago, if a Republican would have said what Trump said about the Somali community, the Republican Party themselves would have run them out of the party, saying we do not have a place in our party for such racist standards. That would be a given. But not only, okay, you have people like Tom Emmer, who we mentioned last week. He said 80% of the crimes being committed in the Twin Cities are being committed by the Somalis. A pulled out of his white albino powder caboose number that is no basis of reality. It's just racism. It's just racism 101. We've got to vilify the Somalis, so he's just going to make up statistics to justify doing that. There is also the other thing, which is to try to, how do you support racism but not say something racist while doing it? Well, generally the solution is, in that case, is to attack the person asking the question. Do we have this ready here? This is Mary Franson. All right. This is the DFL pointed this out. I don't know who is interviewing her, but the question gets asked to Mary Franson, and well, I'll let her answer speak for itself. Do you have that, Patrick? Okay, here, go ahead and let's play it. All right, 1 second. We're just
called Somalis garbage. Do you endorse those remarks, or are you willing to denounce them?
Okay, that is that's a dumb, stupid question. That is a stupid question. I can't even believe you asked me that question.
I don't have.
That is absolutely stupid. Did you just ask me that?
The president has the right to speak his own mind.
So there it is. And the DFL put that out there. It's just precious. It's just precious. Mary, hey, Mary, Bubbles, how you doing over there? Let me point out something to you. He is the benchmark for your party. He is the president of the United States. He is your great orange god. It's fair to ask you, Mary, do you agree with his comments calling all Somalis garbage? Do you think that the Somalis are a second-tier class of human being, Mary? I'm just asking you the question. Apparently, you're so afraid of the question that you'll frantically attack the questioner. Oh, my God! Oh, my God! How dare you! Oh, my pearls need to be clutched! Clutchy, clutchy, clutchy! I mean, what's wrong with you, Mary? Okay, Mary, if I may. No, I don't agree with that. The president, he wants to say it, that's fine, but I completely disagree with him saying that. Ta-da! So the question needs to be asked of Mary. I mean, you're not dumb, Mary. The question needs to be asked, if that's the easy answer, why don't you just say that? Oh, that's right. You know who helps pick the primaries, the voters within the Republican Party right now. Who is the deciding factor within these in these primary systems on who gets to represent any given district? And frankly, my guess is a lot of people in the Republican Party, just black people, I hate them. So I'm not saying that's you, Mary, but I'm just saying, you know where the party is right now, and you're not in a district like Jim Abler is, where it's Anoka and it's a metro area district, and so you can make a stance. So basically, you do the thing which you can do, which is attack the person for daring to ask you the question. And I would, hey, anyone in the news media, because I mean, this is a legit thing. Can I just say this about the news media? You should be asking all the Republicans this question. This reason why is that if it was a Democrat doing it, you would already be jamming microphones in their face saying, do you agree with this? When Dean Phillips said that he wanted to, remove Joe Biden and run in his place, you guys in this state ran around to every Democrat and said, do you agree with him? Huh? Do you agree with Joe? Do you want Joe Biden gone or what? What? Huh? The media in this state could not run around fast enough and put microphones in front of the Democrats' faces to get them on the record of did they agree with Dean Phillips or not. Donald Trump has called the Somalis garbage and says they're worthless and should all be thrown out of the state. Running around to all the Republicans and asking them, do you agree with this, is not an out-of-line question. It's basically, do you agree with the guy who's in charge of your party right now? And the biggest tell of all is if they attack the journalist, then it's clear they absolutely cannot go on the record because they know who votes for Republicans nowadays. That's at least my guess. Pure speculation. Pure speculation. Oh, clutch my pearl. Oh, seeing Mary Franson's angry face, face, is always a delight. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Monday.
Do you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hey, this is John Parker at Rainbow Road in Minneapolis. The holidays are coming up, and you can buy a limited selection of official Tom of Finland swimwear, tanks, and underwear for that special someone or for yourself. But don't wait on this. When they're gone, they're gone. And while you're there, update your gym look from a wide selection of tanks, t-shirts, and shorts. Rainbow Road is open 7 days a week on Grand Street by Loring Park and all the time at rainbowrd.com. Remember to get it at the road.
Some versions of A Christmas Carol are hot toddies, sweet and cozy. Open Eye Theater's holiday tradition, Scrooge in Rouge, it's a Boilermaker, a raucous Victorian vaudeville-style musical that spikes your holiday with camp and chaos. Scrooge in Rouge is backed by audience demand for the third year in a row. Celebrate the holidays with Open Eye Theater, now through December 28th. Bring your friends, bring your festive spirit, and leave your figgy pudding at home. Christmas can be a drag in the best way. Tickets at openeyetheater.org.
This holiday season, bring true purpose back to gift giving with CauseCart. When shopping with CauseCart, you aren't just buying a gift. You're supporting artists, nonprofits, and socially conscious businesses. CauseCart is the trusted marketplace connecting shoppers who care with purpose-driven brands that do good for people and the planet. They're committed to positive change, using biodegradable packaging and investing in carbon credits. Now, CauseCart is extending that conscious approach right to your doorstep with a special offer. They're offering free local delivery in Hennepin, Ramsey, and Washington counties until December 19th. It's the perfect way to shop sustainably without leaving home. Taking advantage of the free delivery is easy. Just go to cause-cart.com and choose the pickup option at checkout. So make your holiday giving meaningful with CauseCart, one conscious choice at a time. That's cause-cart.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. This evening, a chance of snow with temperatures rising to 26 overnight. Then on Tuesday, a rain-snow mix possible with a high of 33. Nightingale is your cozy, comfortable neighborhood bar and restaurant at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis. Come in for the famous Nightingale burger or the ginger tamari chicken wings. View their menu or place a takeout order at nightingalempls.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I will, there are consequences for this kind of constant hate talk. And when I talk about the Republican base, the people that pick the politicians, I mean, there's a reason why Tom Emmer, who, even though he has St. Cloud in his district, which has a fairly large Somali population, basically is saying, well, it's the Somalis are causing all the crime, is because he knows that he has to appeal to the biggest racist and freaking bigots that he can. That's who the base is of the party right now. And that's the people who are the most out there. Where will this end? I don't know. I'm going to read this story, and I'll say this. I'm keeping this for the time being separate from the previous stuff I just mentioned. A Prior Lake mosque and school were extensively damaged in a fire early Monday, according to authorities. The Prior Lake Fire Department said the neighbor alerted responders to the fire at Masjid Hamza Al Mahmoud Foundation and Academy building located at Timber Trail Southwest shortly before 2:30 a.m. Firefighters initially worked both inside and outside the building to extinguish the blaze, but the extent of the fire pushed the crews back outside and a portion of the roof collapsed. Considering this is a house of worship, this is kind of one of those things where it's I think it's tobacco, alcohol, tobacco, firearms takes over the investigation because of the nature of this, the place where it happened. And so far there is no report on what the cause of the fire is. Could have been something electrical, obviously. Could obviously be. Could have been arson. Could be. We don't know. But we're going to pay attention to this and see where it goes. I mean, I could go with the speculation and go down that path, but the reality is I'm going to wait to find out what happened here. And if it does indeed turn out to be an arson, and of course it's Prior Lake, so for goodness sakes, there are going to be cameras everywhere. They're going to know exactly who did this. If it's some right-wing extremist, well, what were they motivated by? We'll have to find out. Once again, could just be an electrical, thing, something going on there. We don't know, but we're going to pay attention. I bring this up because we have to acknowledge where the Republican Party is today. The Republican Party likes to think of themselves as a modern day updated version of that classic painting of the three people, the Revolutionary War people walking, where the one guy's got the drum, the one guy's got the fife, the little flute, the piccolo, and the guy's got the flag, and they're marching with stern faces, like ready to defend democracy. The Republican Party thinks that's what they are. They're a bunch of drunk juggalos, okay? That's what the Republican Party is. Insane clown posse fans. That's what they're. They are. You guys are so determined to dive into the worst of humanity and try to validate it somehow. And whether it's these clearly outrageous attacks on the Somali community, or even something which just exposes the fact that all of you in the Republican Party are a bunch of drunk freaking juggalos. Let me explain. In a now deleted profanity-laced rant, Tim Walz's daughter fired back on social media on a weekend post alleging chaos her family has endured after Trump called her father the R word. Now, the R word is obviously the word for developmentally disabled individuals that Trump and Republicans, the main reason that they have voted to watch their entire quality of life get annihilated is so that they can use the R word as freely as they want to. Over a year after her father became Democratic vice presidential nominee, the Minnesota governor's daughter, who is a brother with a nonverbal learning disorder, expressed fury at the removed TikTok post calling Trump's rhetoric disgraceful. I'm talking about this because while my family and I are always going to be bigger people, the president calling my dad what he did, he has unleashed a blank storm regarding offensive language towards me and my family, and specifically my brother, the 24-year-old social media star, wrote on a December 6th post, also reported by multiple media outlets, including the Post and The Hill. I have people DMing me saying absolutely horrendous things. The TikTok post continued, according to the outlets. When I was home last week, somebody drove by and screamed that we were the R word, she added. What world are we living in, living in? Shame on all of you. You can call me whatever you want. You can call my dad and my mom when it's, but when it's Gus blank to the no, the governor's daughter said in the video. He dealt with people calling him and that last August, and now there's a resurgence. No. And reminder, this just tells you how far the Republican Party has fallen just since last August. Because when people started making that comment about Gus Walz then, there were enough Republicans who lashed back saying, no, you don't do this. There's a learning disability here. And there were consequences. Today, this is a badge of honor for the Republican Party to use the R word against the governor and his son who has a developmental disability. Trump, of course, started this off with his happy Thanksgiving salutation, which you can't even make it up. In the post, Trump called Walz the R word, a term once medically used to describe people with mental disabilities, but later used as a bullying slur, and has been something that the MAGA right is so determined to basically, we need to be able to say that word. Yeah. Now, Hope, by the way, Hope, Queen, you always have my show, minus the swear words, okay? You always have my show. You want to come on here and unleash, it's yours. You are brilliant. Your fire is what the Democratic Party needs. And your outrage is 1,000% validated, because the fact that we are at a point in this world where the people are driving past the governor's thing, rolling down the window, screaming the R word and thinking, they did something funny. And like I've said, if anybody has any footage of anyone doing that, oh, please send it on over. I'd love to get Tizzy Ent involved in this one, and we'll find exactly who this individual is. Because that's the thing, is they feel as if they're safe because they don't have to do this. But if we basically expose these people that are so determined to do this, as long as they think they have anonymity while doing it, well, God bless them. I'm happy to help out. Hope Walz did actually release a second video, and this one does not have nearly the colorful adjectives as the first one. Patrick, whenever you're ready, let's go ahead and play that one.
Oh, Dawn, it is so clear that your dad does not love you. Or if there is any love there, it's not for your compassion like my dad loves me, but instead your cruelty. And that's not love. That's not love. I genuinely feel sad that you and your family feel the need to degrade and put down large swaths of the country in an attempt to make yourself feel better. My family and I will always be richer than yours. Always. Because we don't find joy in this. We find joy in each other and spending time together and doing quality good things for this world together, not tearing other people down. Those daddy issues are so clear, and I genuinely do feel sad for you. I do. I really hope you get the help you need. In the meantime, I'm going to continue building up that, joy and love and happiness with my family, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. So good luck, Dawn. Good luck.
There you go. Hope Walz. Now, what she's referring to is Donald Trump Jr., who, the human cocaine pile, who basically put out how this is the new thing on the right. They put out a Franklin book. Now, if you don't know, Franklin the Turtle is a child's book. That's a lovely book about, that teaches good lessons to kids and stuff like this. And they're putting out these fake versions of them. And I think Donald Trump Jr.'s was, let's drive past Governor Walz's house and use the R word, which, by the way, I'm hoping the Franklin people sue Donald Trump Jr. into oblivion for slander. I hope they do, because that guy is there. But that is who these people are. That is who you are. That is Trump. That is the president's son. That is where is any Republican right now? Any Republican who claims to be a Christian, where are you to condemn the use of the R word like this? The vilification of the developmentally disabled. The petty smallness. You Christians, you suck at being Christians. You do. I am calling you out. And tonight, we're going to have a cavalcade of insanity as the Republican field of candidates, now minus Mike Lindell, are going to be at Southwest Minnesota State University. And I guarantee you, there's going to be anti-Somali rhetoric. There's going to be, my guess is the R word is going to make an appearance, because that is who you guys are. There is no honor. There is no dignity. You're a bunch of drunk juggalos. And that is what it is. It's the lowest common denominator stuff. And you guys have a Christmas tree up in your house and you're saying, you say Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays. And this is what you are. The lies against the Somali community and the joy and glee you guys get from using the R word on people. You are the saddest bunch of losers I have ever seen. You are pathetic. And this is the reason. You know, you guys might have had a chance to possibly ran a good campaign on the fraud issue. But you see, is your own party is so determined to not be nuanced or look at issues, but just go to the lowest common denominator. Hate black people, hate Somalis, use the R word, and that is who you are. You're Sarah Palin, who has got her drunk husband and her shirtless son in a street fight in Wasilla, Alaska, sitting there looking into the camera and acting like it's the Kennedys. Well, I guess maybe not the Kennedys. Some fairly normal political family. This is who you are. You are a drunken mess. And you're all failures and you're all sad, because I can tell you what, I would be very quick to condemn this. And you guys all sniveling little cowards, terrified of actually saying, you know what, using the R word is not a good thing. You're all broken, damaged people. And whether or not you agree with this, the fact that you don't even have the spines, the guts, or the integrity to go on out there and say, this is wrong. And like I said, get ready for this, because I guarantee you there is going to be plenty of bigotry, racism, and use of the R word at Southwest Minnesota State University, because that's what these people are. Bunch of drunk juggalos. That is the Republican Party. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Flo, if you hold on, I'll get to you after the break. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Monday.
If you're in need of food resources, Hennepin County is here to help. Food shelves near you are ready with fresh, nutritious food. SNAP remains open. You can continue applying for benefits. If you are expecting or have children ages 0 to 5, WIC can provide even more support. Get connected to free or low-cost food resources near you at hennepin.us/food-help. Again, that address is hennepin.us/food-help. Across this country, LGBTQ rights are under threat. This is a struggle that the LGBTQ community knows all too well. Since 1987, Outfront Minnesota has been fighting for LGBTQ rights and protections here at home, and this work is needed now more than ever. hard-fought wins here in the state of Minnesota are at risk, from the ban on the harmful practice of conversion therapy that passed in 2023 to transgender protection secured in our State Human Rights Act in 1993, and even national recognition of our same-sex marriage protections that we secured in 2013 are at risk. Outfront Minnesota has helped Minnesota become a national leader in LGBTQ rights, and they will hold the line to make sure we don't lose what we've gained. But they need you. Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Hi, I'm Beth from Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood at 405 Penn Avenue South in Minneapolis. Bring your friends, your book club, or just yourself to celebrate Jane Austen's 250th birthday, Tuesday, December 16th at 6 p.m. Enjoy trivia, treats, Jane Austen-themed books and gifts, and a showing of Pride and Prejudice at 7 p.m. Tickets are $15. RSVP is required. Reserve your spot at bighillbooks.com/events.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Well, the last 2 or 3 minutes here we have. Let's go to Flo in Minneapolis. Flo, my dear, how are we?
Happy Christmas, Kwanzaa.
There she is.
Which is Christmas, Kwanzaa, and Hanukkah, all wrapped into one word.
Thank you very much for the cliff notes on that one. How are you, Flo?
Well, I, as you know, am an avid reader and historian, and I thought I'd share some of the other important things that happened on this day. Of course, in 1991, it was the end of the USSR. The Soviet Union officially dissolved, and the leaders of Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine signed an international agreement abolishing the USSR. And today is also the day when Mark David Chapman murdered John Lennon.
Yeah.
And it is also the date when, in 1941, following the attack on Pearl Harbor, that Franklin Roosevelt addressed a joint session of Congress, calling the attack dastardly and officially declared war and vowed that the American people in their righteous might will win through to absolute victory. And it took over 4 years to do it, but we did.
Yes.
And then the most important thing that affects why you exist is in 1962, all of the New York City newspapers went on strike.
Okay.
And the strike lasted for 114 days and spread across the country.
Flo, I hate to step in on you here, but I'm at the end of the show, and I don't have. I mean, it's such an upbeat schedule of this day in history, I will also add, it is the date that I had my back broken by a drunk driver 3 years ago. So, yeah, sunshine, rainbows, and puppy dogs, isn't it? Flo, I love you, dear. Always call back whenever you like. Everyone else, Native Roots Radio is up next. We are back tomorrow. Till then, see ya.
Here at AM 950, we work hard every day to be Minnesota's progressive.